In his new book Let Me Finish, Christie writes at great length about his fraught relationship with President Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner. Things came to a boiling point according to Christie after then-President-elect Trump announced Christie would be heading up his transition team in the months between the election and inauguration. Kushner responded to this news by telling Trump that Christie had a vendetta against his family while detailing the emotional toll being separated from a parent. Christie also revealed in the book that Kushner was so close to his father that he carries a wallet Charles made for him behind bars. Let Me Finish, Trump, the Kushners, Bannon, New Jersey, and the Power of In-Your-Face Politics is on bookshelves now. Christie writes in the book that the Trump campaign was under the gun and late to select a transition leader when he was designated to lead the effort. It was the logical choice given his experience as governor and the fact that he was one of the few Republicans who had a solid relationship with the occupant of the Oval Office at that time, Barack Obama. Kushner did not feel this way, and after dancing around the subject for a minute or two in a meeting with Trump, Christie and Corey Lewandowski stated, "He tried to destroy my father." Christie writes, as Jared spoke, whenever raised his voice. But some strong emotions are not dependent on volume. Jared delivered his in a soft quiver. As he continued, his voice began to crack. Kushner said that his father was unfairly turned in by the family he made rich, and then forced to serve more jail time by a U.S. attorney with political motivations. "You don't know what it was like for me. Almost every weekend, I flew to Alabama to visit him. He didn't deserve to be there," Kushner told Trump. That is when Christie writes, all these years later, Jared still carried a wallet that his father made in a pre-in workshop. Jared went on to declare that it was a family matter that should have been handled that way, or by the rabbis. In the end, Trump sides with Christie, but Kushner would ultimately get the governor booted from the administration according to the book. The tension between the two dates back to Kushner's childhood, when Christie prosecuted Charles Kushner in a sensational trial that saw the millionaire real estate developer plead guilty to 18 counts of tax evasion, witness tampering and making illegal campaign donations. At the center of the trial was the revelation that Charles had hired a prostitute to seduce his brother-in-law, who at the time was cooperating with federal officials in an investigation into possible campaign finance violations committed by Charles. Charles then filmed the encounter between his brother-in-law and the woman, who was paid $10,000, and sent images of the tryst to his sister, Esther. Esther in turn handed those over to federal officials and said that she was certain they were the work of her brother. Charles was being investigated at the time for donations being made from his companies to the then Democratic Governor Jim McGreevey. That support of the governor helped Charles land the much-coveted post as Commissioner for the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, but in 2003 he was forced to step down just 1 year into that role over those questionable donations. Federal officials got proof when a whistleblowing accountant with Charles' company resigned and handed over documents that showed large sums of money being moved around to support political candidates. It was a captivating case, and thrust Christie onto the national stage in his role as U.S. Attorney. Charles was sentenced to just under 2 years in prison after entering his guilty plea, but Christie had pushed for a harsher sentence at the time, saying that Charles did not seem to show remorse. He ended up serving 14 months